Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. I'm just setting up my phone. So just bear with me for one sec. Here we go. I hope you've all had a lovely day. Hi, Deborah. How are you? Thank you for joining me tonight. Okay. It's not wanting to play. Play nice, phone. Please play nice. Here we go. Let me just make me solo and turn this volume down. Okay, so let me just pop this up. Hopefully we won't have any issues. Whoops, having an issue straight up. Oh, golly. Okay, just getting that. We'll have to play with that in a minute. Hi, Deb, how you going? Okay, I've been playing around with an idea this afternoon. I have been so busy today. It's the almost beginning of school year, and at this time of the year I get so busy with people wanting school uniform hems taken up, let down, just really hectic. So I've got quite a few school uniforms hanging around me at the moment that all need their hems taken up for these kids by Thursday because they start school early next week. So been really busy. But anyway, I've been playing around with an idea. So we're going to give it a go. That's why I was running late, because I had one idea. Well, I had an original idea, and then I changed my mind, but did portion of it, and changed colours. Then I wasn't happy with that, so I've gone back to the original. So let's fingers crossed everything goes well. A lot cooler in Brisbane today. Well, that's good. We've had a slightly muggy day here, but tomorrow is going to be stinking hot again. Okay, so got my trimmer here in front of me. Let me just pop that away. Probably will need that again. Let's get started. So I'm going to turn this camera down. Please excuse my face. I've got a cold sore I'm just trying to fight at the moment. So let me flip this camera and make sure that everything is a little bit crooked. How's that? I think we can see that okay. Oh, deep breath and breathe, Michelle. Okay, I have been having fun thinking of lots of ideas of things that we can do with this suite. Now, of course, I did a card on Friday using this. You are to get 36 degrees tomorrow. Oh, I'm glad I'm not where you are. We're complaining about 30. I don't think I keep saying to my husband every now and then we should move back down to the Riverina, but I don't know whether I'd cope with the heat down there now. But it's a different heat from here, so here it's more humid, whereas there it can be it's a drier heat. It's like everything you touch is hot, whereas here you just feel hot. But anyway, I'm going to have another play with this particular stamp set today, but we're going to do it a little bit different to what I did last week. We're going to do, my idea is like a floating card, okay? And I really love the dies, and in particular, this little die here. So they're just this one little leaf die. So I've been busy cutting out these dies today. Let me pop this to one side because I don't need it just now. I've already cut out some of them. So what I've got is I've got a window sheet here. I don't know if I move it about, you might see it. So I've got a window sheet here. I've just cut it 10 centimeters by around about 15 centimeters. And what I'm going to do, and I've already die cut, I've got some basic white, and I've put on the back of my basic white some adhesive sheet. So what I tend to do is cut strips around about 5 centimeters wide, because that'll go through my mini cut and emboss machine, and it's the right size for that. I probably could have gone a bit smaller, but also too, the let me just grab the adhesive sheets here. The adhesive sheets are in strips, okay? So this side here, there's a break. There's 2 breaks in it. There's one just there, and there's another one here. And each one of these breaks is about 5 centimeters wide. So that's why I cut a 5 centimeter wide strip, because then I just cut this piece, cut that strip off right down that join, and then peel it off, and I pop it onto the back of my cardstock. So if I get a piece of A4 cardstock and cut it down to, you know, to that 5 centimeter by that strip, I think this strip just ends up being a little bit longer, because these pieces here are 6 by 12. So it's just you just need to trim this down to an A4 length, and that way I can, if I'm cutting multiples or something, it just makes it a lot easier. So that's what I've been doing, and I want to cut another couple pieces. So let me just grab my mini cut and emboss and my mats for it. And I think I've got 2 more to cut. I've sort of estimated I'm going to need around about 15 or so. So now bear with me tonight, because as I said, this is sort of an idea in my head. I'm hoping it's going to work out. Now I want to put the cardstock side upwards, put my die down on there, and cut a couple of more pieces. Now I don't know whether you saw, but I also made another card last Friday after the live had finished, where what I did is I had all those leftover pieces that I had die cut, the flowers and other leaves, and I created another card. So this is sort of along the lines of that. When you're going to cut out onto these pieces and you're going to have lots left over, you might as well not waste them. And if you can think of another card to make, then make it. And it was just a very, very simple card. I just had a panel on the front of it, which I ran through with an embossing folder. I think it was the Stripes and Splatters or something, I think it's called. Fits in the mini cut and emboss. Just to give that some texture. And I put a little bit of melon mumbo cardstock underneath it as a mat, and then used up some of those leftover leaves and a sentiment, and there you go. There was a quick card. It was, you know, really quick to do. So when you're cutting some of these things, and you do, because I'm really enjoying this particular stamp set, particularly the dies, and you cut a lot, don't throw them away. Think of something else that you can do with it. So that's my tip for tonight. Okay, so there's those cuts. I'm going to pop that to one side. I've got my big cut and emboss machine sitting here as well, because we may do a little bit of, well, we're going to do some more die cutting. So my next idea for these leaves was to give them a little bit of colour. So I have started. I've done 2. Let me just bring my little tray in. So I've cut all these here. They've all got the backing on them. And I've got some garden green. Now, a few months ago, if you had have asked me, do you like garden green? I probably would have gone, not particularly. but I'm actually quite enjoying it. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of ink on my glass mat there. I'm hoping that my this is wet. God, funny, yeah, it's wet, so that's good. I can clean this down. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of ink on there. And all I want to do really is just grab those edges. So I'm just adding a little bit of colour all the way around. Doesn't matter if I leave white spots. I'm just going to pop those into there so I don't lose them. Grab a little bit more ink here. Now you could use the smaller blending brush if you wanted to. Or you could even use a dauber, but I just find that these blending brushes work quite well for what I'm wanting to do here. Just adding just roughly a little bit of colour to each one of these. Now my original idea was even to have all these in white, but I decided no, I'd like to have a little bit of colour on this. I was going to do my card base in garden green as well. Then I thought, oh, it could be just a little bit too much green. And I wasn't quite sure, what would I do my card base in? Because originally my idea was white on white. And then I thought, you could do blue, but then green and blue should never be seen unless there's another colour in between. So I sort of like, I don't know about the green and blue. And then I put out the crushed curry, and I thought, well, I could make a crushed curry base. But no, I don't like that. So I've gone back to a white card base. Excuse me, losing my voice a little bit there. So I'm going to do this, as I said, back to my original with a white card base, but instead of being white on white, it's going to have a bit of this green in there. We're going to have another element also on here, and this time I'm going to colour in the crocodile. Here in Australia we'd say it was a crocodile. I don't know, in America you might call it an alligator. But instead of using blends, I'm going to use my pencils. The watercolour pencils that Stampin' Up have. And just recently I had to buy a new packet because they've got a couple of the colours out of the old ones that discontinued, and they've got a couple of new colours. So I've pulled out the new colour they've got in the pack is, or the one I'm using tonight, is the pecan pie. And I thought, well, that'd be nice. So pull that out, and I'm going to do that. So only a couple more to go. We really love the fact that we can put ink straight onto this glass mat. So you're all fairly quiet tonight. Anything exciting been happening during your week? I mean, I've told you my exciting stuff, school uniforms. I'm looking forward to Australia Day on Friday. So I probably won't, I won't be doing a live on Friday. Because I've got that on, and I'll also have a couple of training programs on that Stampin' Up and running. So I'm booked in to do that as well. I just hope I'm going to get back from Berrima in time. Hello, Julie. How are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. Hope things are going well for you. It was lovely seeing that photo of you and your girls the other day. My heart just sang for you. Okay, so that's all of those done. So I'm just going to clean up my bit of mess here. Ooh, I've only just got a wet, damp cloth. Whoops, don't want anything getting on that. Don't even have any paper towel here at the moment. I've run out of that. Okay. Don't worry, Julie. He'll come around eventually. I had a friend of mine many years ago went through a similar thing. And it took a while. It wasn't something that happened overnight, but eventually her boys came back. She had 3 boys. And yeah, but I think it's all good now. Okay, so we've got our leaves. We've got our piece of acetate, which we've got there. I'm going to pop over there. Now, this is my tester piece for my little crocodile. So I'm just going to grab a scrap of basic white that I've got here. And I've got Memento ink. Now, I know that when we usually do with watercolor pencils, because usually we're going to use it with water, we would use Stays On ink. But I tend to use my color lifter, my blends color lifter when I'm coloring my watercolor pencils, which means that I can use Memento ink. Okay. So just remember, if you're using anything water or even the, where are they? These here, which you get in packs of 3, your blender pen. So your blender pen, or you're using your water aqua painters, you do want to use your Stays On, okay? But because I'm using my blends color lifter, I can get away with using Memento, okay? So what are the colors I've pulled out to use tonight in my watercolor pencils are garden green, of course, granny apple green, old olive, and pecan pie. Okay, so they're the colors that I'm going to use. So I'm going to start off with my granny apple green, and I'm just going to very roughly color in some of these areas. Now, I'm not too pedantic about how I color them in or anything like that. All I'm wanting to do is lay some color down. Okay, and I'm going to come over the top with other colors in a minute, but all I want to do right now is just get some color onto here, and it doesn't have to all be colored beautiful. All I'm really doing is just scribbling some color on. Okay, so I'm just going to put some granny apple green all over. Then I'm going to come in with my garden green, and I'm going to start adding some of my shading. Okay, so I want some of the garden green in these back feet here. I want a little bit coming in here, and probably a little bit coming in this foot here and this foot here as well. We want a bit on his tail. And all I'm doing is just scribbling this down, and I want a fair bit under here, under his tummy, under his cheek here. We want to put a bit of this here and going right up his snout. A little bit in there around his head, with a darker green too around his eyes. As you can see, I'm not being too fussy, just really just laying some color down. So I find with this, it's really forgiving, and I can come back and add more if I want to add more. Okay, so now to that, I also want to add a little bit of old olive. And the old olive, compared to the other colors, have got a little bit more brown in it. So I'm just going to highlight some of these lumps and bumps on his body. Again, I'm just scribbling some color in, and I can add a bit more shading. All these colors are going to blend together a little bit. Bit up there. So I was trying to think now, what colors are the crocodile? Now, they can be quite muddy. I'm going to add a bit in there. Now what I'm going to do is, I've still got this one to add, but I'm going to add that a little bit later. So now I'm going to take my blends, and I'm using the fine tip end of my blends. Oh, good. Well, that'll be fun, Julie, just be able to spend some money, Stampin' Up money for your birthday. Hello, Anita. How are you? Thank you for joining us. So now all I'm going to do, and I'm just going in a circular motion and just blending these colors together. That's all I'm doing, is just blending these together and just covering all those little areas up. Now, I don't want to try to get anything on his teeth. We might as well give him a nice, beautiful white teeth smile. I'm not trying to spread the color around too much, because we do want all that shading and everything to be there, but we just want to blend it in. On the alcohol in the color lifter just seems to blend these watercolor pencils beautifully. And because we don't have one of the papers that they discontinued, which I found was really great for using with water, by using my color lifter, I don't get that bubbling. You know, when you put too much water or something onto your basic white cardstock, it can sort of ball up after a while, you know, sort of pill a little bit. So by using the color lifter, it's sort of not doing that. And then what you do when you're finished is just clean off your color lifter on a piece of scrap of paper until it comes white again, and then it's ready to go with any of your other blends, or even just get two of these and have two of them. Mind you, I've got to remember to put another one on my to buy list. So I'm just blending all of those colors in. So there we go. We've got our crocodile there. I'm just going to put a little bit of color, drag some of that color into his spine down there. But I'm now going to come back in with my pecan pie and just add a little bit more shading. Okay, so I'm just going to add some around his cheekbone, underneath his bottom jaw, even a little bit onto his top jaw there, a little bit around his snout, and all these areas where we'd have some shading happening. So I'm just layering the colors all on top of each other. Again, I'm just sort of just drawing lines and squiggles. A bit there, a bit more around there, and some here on his back. So again, I'm just going to come back in with this and just blend this out. And just blend it into the colors we've already done. Just take off some of those harsher lines. Just make him look like he's been having a really good play in that muddy pond. Now, of course, you can go back in and add a bit more of the green if you wanted to add a bit more green in there somewhere. Just go down his jaw there, around his snout. Just add a little bit more brown into that spine. And there you are. There's my crocodile. I'm actually quite happy with that. Just colour that in a little bit more. The only place I might just add a bit more of the brown is just there. I'm just going to flick that colour out. Okay, so there's my crocodile done. I'll just clean off my pen. Just turning it around just to get all that pencil out. And all this is going to get cut away anyway. But there you go. Yeah, I love my blends. I love the blender pen. I've got to replace quite a few of them. I noticed the other day some of mine, the bodies, it must be the really old ones, the bodies are cracked a bit. So this one here, I've probably got a lot more green in it than this one. But it's really up to you how much colour and how much depth of colour you want to pop in there. Okay, so that's that colour. So now we need to cut him out. And then I can think about the maybe a sentiment. So let me just grab, so I keep all these little cards in here that I've done. So there's my one I did the other day. We're going to need some of those maybe, so I'm going to pop them out. Now I need my crocodile die. There he is. So this one here, you can go back in here because I've got the list of all the colours I've used. And that's just, if I ever want to do him again, I know what I've done with the pencils there for that. So I'm just going to bring my mini one in again because it's just a lot easier to use. Pop that on there. Add our crocodile. Put the next plate on top. Hopefully nothing moves. Oh, there's something moved there, I think. Hold on a sec. A bit concerned about things moving. I always have this post-it note tape on hand. I get this from the Officeworks. It's Burroughs post-it note tape. Comes in about 4 or 5 colours on a spool. Let's pop that there. And there's our crocodile, cut out beautifully actually. So I'll pop him in there. I've got dye in there as well. So our window sheet, now it's clear and I can't see it. There we go, there it is. So what I'm going to do with this, I've got all these leaves here and I'm going to peel the backs off and I'm going to lay it down on this window sheet. So I'm going to cover the window sheet with these. Now I was thinking earlier, how am I going to do this? Am I going to go lines? And I didn't like the way that looked. Didn't like having things going sort of in odd directions. So what I thought I'm going to do is I'm going to take a center point, which is going to be sort of somewhere down the bottom, not actually in center, and I'm going to have everything sort of hopefully coming out from it. So I don't know how this is going to look. So I'm just going to peel the back off that. I'm going to start and pop my first one there. So we're just going to peel these backs off. Now this is a cheating way of doing a floating card, because normally you would probably have a dimensional under each one of these, but by having the window sheet, and you can't, you know, it's sort of invisible. You sort of have all the work, but it makes it easy. So I'm just going to sort of take these out, fan these out a little bit. Hello, Joan. How are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. So this one here, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get down here. We'll have to sort of play everything a little bit by ear. Somehow fan this all the way. Now I'm going to use one of the beveled edge rectangles to cut out my piece in this, the size I want. I think I've got the second largest rectangle. Now, normally I've done this sort of card with stripes. I know people have done them with flowers and things, but I'm just working the leaves. You can take it right off. So there's my window sheet there, and I've actually gone past the size there, which is all okay, because I just want to cover this whole sheet. And then I'm going to cut it out to the size that I want. Now it's sort of, this is where it's going to get interesting. Do I come down from that point? I think I might. Because my crocodile is probably going to sit somewhere in that area, I hope. If not the crocodile, maybe a sentiment. We'll see how we go. So I'm just really radiating everything out from this sort of area here and just coming outwards. Now I've only got 3 of these left, so I'm hoping I'm going to have enough to cover. Or what we can do is we can trim some of the bits off and hopefully use them or we can cut some more if we have to. Okay, so that's my piece, and I'm just going to pop that on top because I've got a feeling I'm going to have to cut. But then if I cut, okay, let's see. I don't know whether this is going to, I want to take that piece there off if I can. Maybe pop that bit in there. If I bring that down a little bit, then this one here won't get, it'll be missed out, and it can go in there. So it's just a matter of moving things around. And I think that is going to be about it. So what I'm going to do is just grab a pair of scissors here and just trim this back a little bit so it's going to fit into my die cut. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be some of those edges cut off. It's just a pity some of these couldn't have been used to fill in. We might, don't know whether that will work in there. Probably, as I say, a man and his flying horse sometimes won't notice, but if I put that one in there, even though it's upside down, okay, just going to rip that bit off. Just dropped half my scraps all over the floor, which is okay because my floor's covered in scraps of fabric and everything else as well. Every time I threw something at the bin today, it seemed to miss the bin and land somewhere else. Okay, let's bring in, pop that down there. Fingers crossed this is going to work. Okay, so let's pop our cut and emboss machine in there, and got those two plates. So here's our sheet with our piece on there, and I'm just going to make sure that I've got all the bits that I want to get. And run that through. There's a lot of snap, crackle and pop happening there, so I hope that's all worked. So let's, it didn't cut through properly. Okay, we're going to have to run that through again. Let's try that again. See if I can. Problem with doing things live sometimes, they don't always work out the first time. So let's see if I can line all this up. Using the beveled edge, it's sort of like, have I got the die up the right way? And I think I'm going to make sure I have by sticking this well and truly down. So just bear with me one sec. Sometimes to do this, you've got to run it through a couple of times. I probably should have just done that. Let's just make sure this time it's going to cut. Hopefully nothing has moved. Get that out of the road. Oh, let's see if we can get this, lift this very gently. This tape has decided to stick well and truly on a couple of pieces. Very gently peel that off. First time I've had it actually rip my paper. So, did I get it through? This is very strong window sheet. Okay. All else fails, let's just grab our snips, because it's just a few little spots. It's just not quite gone through. Probably because it's a little bit of height difference. And I don't want to risk putting this through again. Worst comes to worst, we get a smaller frame and we put it through. So who's had this before? The best laid plans don't quite work. Some places here it's just holding on by a thread. Let's cut that away. It's just this top piece up here which has decided it wants to hang on, but it's coming. I've just got to prise some of these little pieces. Let's let go. Just a couple of little hanger-oners. Just that little bit there. There you go. All done. So it took a little while to get there, but there's our panel. 100 times plans go to pear-shaped. Yeah, can't always guarantee everything's going to work the way you want it. You've just got to be prepared to go with the flow and keep bouncing along, I think. Okay, so I've got a card base here. I've got two of them. So I'm just going to fold this in half. Grab my bone folder. Give that a really good press there. And that's going to go on there. Now, to get the floating a look, we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of here. So you'll probably need some mini ones as well as some big ones. So you just want to pop them in areas where they're going to be hidden behind the leaves. Oops, probably not quite hidden. Probably in some respects your mini ones might even be easier on this. Let's just try the mini. May want to put a few extra being the mini ones. I'm being quite generous with these and just sort of you just want them in areas which aren't going to be seen. That's probably enough. Got quite a few there, so that's going to sit up like that. So it's just going to give us that illusion of floating. Just making sure that I've got them all off. Okay, so once you're happy with that, so that's where I radiated from. So I want that to be at the bottom of my card. I'm just going to use my grid paper or my grid on my glass mat here to act as a guide, and just eyeball that to where I want that to sit. And there we go. There's our floating card. So our space in between our window sheet and our cardstock or card base is the depth of your dimensional. Okay. So now we need to find, where did I put my little crocodile? So he's going to sit. Now I've still got to work out my sentiment and whether I'm going to use some of the other leaves. So he was going to sit in there. Just get these out of the road. Oh, they stick to the glass mat. Found something that the glass mat doesn't handle. Dimensional backs. Okay. So if he's going to sit there, now do we need to add? Now we've got to work out sentiment. Then we can work out what else we can put on there, because I don't know whether it's going to need a bit more colour underneath him so it doesn't look all so green. So let's have a look at the sentiments, and I was thinking of using something like hey there instead of happy birthday. I'm looking at the charming sentiments here, which has got all these really fun sentiments, different types of fonts. Faith over fear could be an interesting one to put on there. You might be a bit fearful of a crocodile. Yeah, I just like the simplicity of hay there. So let's just have a look at that. Now, where is it? There it is. So I've got another piece of scrap basic white here, because that one might be too small, because I'm sort of thinking what I could do, if we pop that on there, do we do it as a strip behind him? Is it going to take away too much? Let's have a look. Just grabbing this little guillotine. And I'm just going to cut this down to, it's a bit wider than what I want it. It's wider than my card. And I'm going to cut a piece which is probably around about 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch. Because I think the hay there will fit on that. Now this will probably get cut down. So thinking at the moment that might go there. Don't know. The other thing would be just to stamp the hay there, and then we can die cut it out because it has got dies. Just wondering if it just needs a little something behind that. I don't know whether I've got nothing in my little box of tricks there that I think is the right colour. Okay, guys, ideas. Do you have the bee punch? That's an interesting idea, Julie. I like that idea. Let's have a look at that. And have a speech bubble. But I don't know whether the hay there is going to fit in the speech bubble. Oh, it might be a bit tight. Let's just cut it out and we'll have a look. We'll stamp it. Actually, we'll stamp it first on this scrap here. Because now we've got all that work done on there. I don't really want to cover that up too much. Now, what colour? We could do it in black. We could do it in the garden green. I mean, the other thing is too, I've got these pieces here, which is left over from the other day. And I have got a bit of more pink because I sort of thought we could add, because we could put him up onto dimensionals as well. And cut out some more flowers because I think I've used up all my pink flowers. Or we could just use crushed curry flowers. Don't know. Let's just do one thing at a time. Let's do our speech bubble first. I don't know whether I want to do my speech bubble with garden green. So we'll start with garden green because I can stamp a couple of these. So there's hay there in garden green. Can we get that to fit in there? You know what, Julie? It will fit just right there. Let's grab a post-it note so we've got a handle. Okay, there's our little speech bubble. Like that. But do we do it in the green? Because everything is going green at the moment, because even our crocodile is green. Do we choose another colour? And which colour would you do it in? I mean, we could go the melon mambo and add some more melon mambo flowers in around it, which that could look quite good. Let me grab my melon mambo. Won't be a sec. I'm being lazy and getting this out with a ruler because it's just out of arm's reach. Okay, let's clean off that. Let's get rid of the green. So I just think there's too much green happening. Yeah, I was thinking some of the tempting turquoise and that, but I don't know. Okay, let's try this one again. I'm going to pop him up on some dimensionals. I'm not going to stick him down just yet, though. He's going to sit there. Pop that there. I like the pink. I think that looks really good in the Melon Mambo. I could cut some more of those little, or even just not do that. Just keep it really, really simple. Sometimes simple is best. Okay, everybody's thoughts? Do we need anything else? Because he stands out now from the... I was thinking putting vellum, but I don't think I want the vellum because I want the look of the floating leaves to stay. Because I think if we put anything else underneath, you're going to tend to lose it. I think I'm going to just glue that down. So that's there. That is there. Just trying to think what else we got. Do we need to add anything else? We could put... Let's have a look. What have we got in here? I mean, I haven't stuck the hay there down. I do like that, and I like it in that colour. I'm just wondering, is there anything else in the Melon Mambo? We could always colour something. Too bright, I think. I think what I'm going to do is grab those. I just want a hint of colour. Now I'm just going to move you. Maybe sponge it. No, I don't want to make it too heavy. So I'm just going to... Sorry guys, if I'm just making you a bit dizzy. I'm just grabbing my blend in Melon Mambo. I think I just need to add a little bit. I love these classic matte dots because you can so easily, they're matte in colour, so you can easily colour them in with your blends. And you've got your white and very vanilla I like it because I can get these and I can just colour these in. With my blends. Let those dry for a bit. Didn't colour too well. Let's just go over that one again. I'm using the dark melon mambo here. Just not quite taking. I'll let them dry, then I might have to go over them again a second time. So what I'm going to do is just add a bit of adhesive to this because I don't want to pop it up in dimensionals. I just want it to be flat. I don't want it to be the sentiment to be predominant either. I just want it to sort of sit in there, going downwards a little bit so it looks like he's saying it. Now let me just give those a bit of a, see if they've dried off a bit. Okay. So who is it? Oh God, I can't think now what I was going to say. It's gone straight out of my head. Oh, it wasn't important. Okay, so let's just grab this. I'm going to add one there. Two. Might need to just colour a couple more. Always a question to where these need to go. Does need another couple. I'm going to pop it there, I think. Just going to very carefully just add a little bit more. I think sometimes those flowers are just that little bit too bright. I'm not even quite sure whether I should have gone as many dots. I probably could have gone less. Just going to pop them off onto there for the moment because I just, whoops, I've got a little bit of colour there. Going to pop that one there. Move that. Don't know whether these are, no, I'm going to pop these back because they're not staying with their colour as well as what they should be. They've marked. Okay, that is going to be, that is that. And now let's put a bit on the inside of this card. Actually, I think I'm going to leave it. Sometimes I like to leave. Let me just have a quick look. I might just change my mind here because that one there, hey there, what's new? Okay, we're going to cut a mat. Now I do have one here somewhere. Yep, that can fit inside there. And gotta watch the ink on my fingers. And let's grab what's new, because it's the same. Is that it there? Nope. There it is. Whoops. Make sure that is dry. Now, of course, if I had some more spare leaves or something like that, we could have put a couple of leaves in here, but I'm just keeping this fairly plain and just adding white on white, because I really just want this to be very, very simple. Okay, so there we go. There's my finished card. Just see you, Julie. Thanks for joining. And just keeping that, you know, quite simple, but with like that floating technique with the leaves on there. So I hope that's given you a little bit of an inspiration or something that you can try. And I love colouring in with either my blends or my watercolour pencils. So I hope you've enjoyed that. And there's just a very simple inside our card. So great little card just to send to someone, just to sort of to see how they're going. Not necessarily a birthday card or anything like that, but you know, you could send someone quite a nice note with that one. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's been great having you on here. I will try to get this up on my blog probably over the weekend. I've just got to get these school uniforms all done. And I won't be online on Friday because I've got a training thing to do with Stampin' Up, and I also want to try to get down to Australia Day in Berrima. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, you may see some photos, because this year will be the first year we've actually had something happening in Berrima since before COVID, I think. So I'm quite looking forward to getting down there and celebrating. So thank you very much for joining me. Have a lovely day, and we'll catch up with you later. Bye for now.